Alright, welcome back. It's day 2 for the Surviving Conquest Enhanced series. I'm gonna take a look real quick at our research points here before we get started, because we've got a decent amount of manpower to spend, and we've got 6 research points. So we have a few things that we can acquire that will help our defense out. And I just want to point those out and try and decide which ones we can take. First off the bat, small defenses. This is absolutely a must buy. I think I said that in the last video as well. Grab this. It costs you nothing other than the 1 research point investment. So you get a couple AI emplacements and some AI infantry, and this will scale as you do throughout the campaign. So the tech level of the emplacements will increase, the amount of defenses that you will get will increase, and then later on we can upgrade to medium and then larger defenses, which gives us additional capabilities as well. The other thing we could also consider to buy is this 81mm mortar barrage. This thing is very good for considering its cost. It's only 5 Collins stars for the basic mortar strike, which for me is very, very useful. The problem is that we don't have any stars to spend. So we're not going to worry about that now, but it is an option for you early if you do have a lot of stars to spend, because these are very, 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 very useful early in the match. Early in the campaign. A couple of other options that we can maybe think about taking. I mentioned in the last video the engineer and the engineer tree. This to me is something I really like to pick up early. For now, I'm going to make sure that we can afford to buy a couple of these units before I invest the research points into it, but it's definitely something that we can do, and I think we can get a lot of value out of it. And then the last option that we can also think about taking are these 25mm or 37mm flak guns. Early in the game, both of these are very, very good options. The 37mm specifically for either the Soviets or the Germans, and then the US equivalent is the 40mm Bofors. These things absolutely shred light tanks and vehicles, and if you're having trouble in the early campaign, this thing can really carry you through the first couple of defenses if you can keep it well protected. The only thing is that it is a little bit of an investment for research points, and they are kind of expensive. And you will then sort of need to, it's a dead-end tree, other than the emplacements, which for the Soviets, these are okay. I think the German tree, the flak defenses, so going up to the flak 88 is a better choice for that faction specifically, in my opinion. But they just released, this was part of the last update, the 76mm and the YAG 10, which I actually had never used, so they may be more useful than I'm giving them credit for. But these two options, the 25mm or the 37mm, both good choices, the Soviets. And then additionally, we could go ahead and grab maybe a higher tier AT gun, just for 1 point here to grab this 76mm. May not be the worst thing ever. Probably don't want to spend our points on defense into teching into a tank, more than likely, because we'll cover this in a minute, but don't really like to bring tanks on defense early. But we could just hang on to it and then use it for our next attack and to sort of progress through the tech tree. So with that said, I want to first rebuild my army, at least the essentials and the units that I already have before I spend any more. And then I want to look and see if I can actually purchase anything with the research points. What I mean by that is, say I research the engineer squad. Well, the engineer squad costs 150 or 200 manpower to bring in. If I rebuild my army and I don't have enough manpower to bring that in, then you could argue that it was maybe a waste to spend the research points on it, and that would have been better served for a unit I could have actually purchased, whether it be in this round or in the next one. So I did go ahead and grab the small defenses though, because like I said, no brainer. So I'm going to cut it, and then I'm going to rebuild this, and then we'll pick it back up and talk through the choices, and also then sort of revisit the research as well. Alright, so we've rebuilt the army with the essentials. I'd say that in air quotes. Things that I absolutely think I need, and that I have left over from the last round. So I'm going to start in the infantry area. I think we need at minimum 3 rifle squads. Early on in the game, you don't need a ton of infantry. I think 3 is generally enough to defend one single flag. If you have too many, then it becomes difficult for you to find uses for them, but you can, then keep them in reserve. So it's never a bad option to bring more infantry. It's just a sort of opportunity cost of what else do you want to bring instead. I've also got 2 recon squads and then a medic squad. This is not as big of a deal. I think this is pretty straightforward as to why we're bringing it. We obviously need some infantry, and we need at least 1 squad of medics. What's more important, I think, is to talk through the mindset behind what we're going to set up with as far as our other units. So we can sort of break it into 2 categories. We've got support weapons, which is anti-tank guns, machine guns, and a mortar if you have one. If you manage to capture one, rather. And then vehicles. So for me, you can see just in the population cap difference how much more effective support weapons are going to be. And this is a fundamental difference in Conquest Enhanced versus a vanilla game. So for the price of what we can buy 1 tank for, we can buy 1 AT gun, and for the price of 2 tanks, we can buy 3 AT guns. So, and that's just a BT5. we're not talking about what could I buy instead of a T28, for instance, which would be 25 pop cap as a medium tank. Now I can get 2.5 AT guns for the same price. So, especially early in the game, it's very, very useful and very point and cost efficient for you to use your money and manpower and resources on support weapons, specifically machine guns and anti-tank guns. They're your best bang for your buck. For me, I like to take minimum of 3 AT guns. I really would probably recommend more than that, especially if you don't have like a in-between gun, like a field gun. 4, 5. You can never go wrong with having more. It's almost never going to be, especially early on, you're never gonna feel like you have enough. And you want a little bit of redundancy. You want them to be able to support each other, and we'll talk about that when we go into setup. But I think this is the sort of the key takeaway here is that you want to spend your population cap and your manpower resources on these support weapons, anti-tank and machine guns. So with that said, we still need probably 2 to 3 to maybe 4 additional AT guns, and at least 2 more machine guns. So with that said, I would like to actually go ahead and pick up this 76mm AT gun. We could go ahead and spring for the 57mm, but I really don't think it's necessary at this stage. So you can see this thing's quite good. The previous 2 guns are more classified as field guns. They're not as effective as anti-tank guns, in my opinion. This is really a thing that's unique to the Soviet tree. The US and German trees are a little bit more delineated between what's characterized as a field gun versus an anti-tank gun. It's very clear. But look at how cheap this thing is. It's 235 manpower and 11 pop cap. I mean, we can bring 2 of those, no sweat, and drastically increase our ability to take out vehicles. So we're going to do that. We're going to grab 2 of those. And then I would actually like to take at least 1, maybe 2 of these 45 mil 1942s. So we have 1, and then we'll go ahead and chuck 1 in this stage as well. So now it leaves us with, between the 2, we have 3 pop cap and 15. So we have 18 total pop cap. I'm going to go ahead and rearrange just a little bit. So we've filled this up because I put the medic in here. So now we have 3 sort of proper AT guns, a field gun, and 2 of the sort of supporting 45 mil AT guns. We definitely would like to bring at least 1 more machine gun, probably 2. We'll go ahead and grab 2 of the Dishkas, and that's going to leave us with 10 pop cap left. We also only have 285 manpower, so where does that leave us? If we want to buy the field engineers, which is something I would really like to purchase, let's see how much those are going to cost. So they're right here. They're going to cost us 100 per squad, so we actually could bring in 1, and then maybe a squad of AT mine engineers for 80, which is, actually we could bring in 2 of these. And I know from experience these are 2 pop cap each. So what we can do is we can actually then go back to the research tree with our 4 points, and we grab all of this. Go ahead and research it, and now we've said, okay, we can safely bring in, we know we can afford this, so we have not spent our research points and not been able to call in the units that we and be able to call in the units that we purchased. So we've pretty much exhausted our manpower, and then we'll go ahead and throw our 2-man AT squad in there as well, just to complete it. So if you'll notice, we have no tanks, no vehicles. We have simply 4 machine guns, so 3 Dishkas and that captured MG34. We have 5 AT guns, so 3 of the 76mm variants and 2 of the 45mm variants. 1 76mm field gun. And we have 3 ammo boxes, which really I would like it to be 4. If we could afford additional ammo boxes, I would have brought another one. But we just don't have the resources for that. We also could bring things like tank crew to recrew these weapon teams if they are to get decrewed. Really good use of our resources there as well. But I think we got everything that we wanted, to be honest. Maybe we have a little bit too much in the way of AT, but for me, I don't think that we can be too safe on this one. Okay, so with that said, I think we're okay. The map is going to be Hungarian Swamps, which is an interesting one. It looks like it's another research bonus. So we're going to have a lot of research points, but not a lot of resources otherwise to spend if we are successful. So let's go ahead and get into the match, and I will talk through a little bit how we set up the defense as well, because that's very, very important. Let's go. Okay, so we're in. The first thing that we want to do is check out the area which we're defending. We're very, very close to the enemy spawn point, which is not the best. You can't get too close to the spawn. Like, you can't. They have some, spawn protection when the AI units come in. So we got a lot of trees. Now we're going to try to take a look at the terrain. We got a lot of trees to deal with, which is kind of a pain, but not the end of the world. For AT guns, is a little bit tricky, or it's not as big of a deal as for artillery AT and machine guns is not as big of a deal as it is for like light field guns. Just one thing to note, you'll see all of the AI defenses on the map, and then they'll despawn here within that first 20 seconds or so, and then we'll see what we're stuck with, or not stuck with, but what remains rather. That's just the way that the mod works, where it spawns in all basically everything that it could give you, and then it sort of dials it back based on the factors that it's considering. So what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and unpause, and then we're going to use the scroll wheel command here to teleport the units closer, which is very helpful on defense like this. One thing it doesn't seem to do, though, is grab any units that you've captured. So see, the MG42 is still here. I'm not sure why that is what it is, but it seems pretty consistent. So now we're going to pause again, and we're going to look and just do two things. We're going to do a little bit of planning, but we're also going to check out which AI defenses we kept. Okay, this BT7 is way out here on its own. I mean, I don't know how we're going to be able to defend this at all. Because it's right here in front of the AI spawn. In general, we want to try and defend the AI positions, because obviously we want them to stay alive as long as possible, because they have unlimited ammo, which is something to note. So the longer you keep them alive, the better, and the more impactful they can be. And then we also want to prevent the AI attackers, our opposition, from recruiting these and using them against us. So we have a Maxim machine gun out here. We have a handful of infantry, which is pretty insignificant, and then a Dishka just sort of chilling here inside the flag. So, to be honest, not the best AI defense role there. It's going to be a random sort of set of units. Mortar would have been really nice if we'd gotten that. Sometimes you get one pretty early on, but no matter, we'll make it work. Now the next thing we want to do is sort of take a look around the terrain a little bit more and try and sort of plan out how we want to set up. The flag is sort of in this sort of not ditch, but it's sort of in a bowl. The area all around it seems to be more elevated than it is, which can be to our advantage. Because it allows us to basically defend from behind the point effectively, because the the enemy has to roll up over the top of the hill to attack us. But we don't want to be too far back, because then we obviously give them the ability to walk in here and attack us. So this is a pretty tricky map, just the way it's set up here. I think what makes the most sense is, if you look, we sort of have this natural ridge that sort of runs along this. This makes the most sense to me on how we should defend. I think we could potentially go all the way up to this hill, this tree line here. But it will be very difficult for us to defend from this, and then we also are potentially liable to run into units that are spawn protected. I'm just considering here, maybe this is actually the better option. We'll be a little bit away from the flag, which is not ideal, but if we get a better position, we want to take it, rather than being so concerned about where the flag is. So after thinking about it for just a minute while we were talking through, I actually think this may be the best play, actually, to defend along this tree line here. So as we can see, if we look at it from this angle, yeah, we get a nice sort of field of vision out through this open field. And based on the arrows, we expect the majority of the units to come from this side anyway. This side's going to be a little bit more tricky, because of the close proximity again to the spawn point, but I think we have a decent position right here to sort of overlook this, and then we just have to manage this gap. If we say that our main defensive positions are going to be here and here, we have to manage this gap in between for any units that maybe are trying to sneak through. So we need our units to be able to cover each other a little bit. This is a little bit further away than I would like, but I think we can manage, especially this early in the game, where the units are generally pretty low ranged. So for me, I think the best thing for us to do is to place one of our 45mm AT guns and one of our 76mm AT guns here. We'll put two 76mm and one 45mm AT gun here, and then we'll probably stick that field gun just in the middle because it does have a little bit of arc on its shell trajectory, which will allow it to get up and over some of these small hills. So maybe in this area isn't so bad, and it can still it can support sort of both points we expect to get attacked from. We'll probably just split the MGs up 50-50. Since we do have the AI defense Dishka here, we'll probably take one Dishka, one MG34 for this side, and then two on this side. And then we'll just use our infantry to sort of, rather we'll spread our infantry out. One squad here, maybe one squad here, and then one squad sort of in the middle. Unfortunately, we do have sort of a larger area that we're trying to defend, which will make this a little bit trickier for the number of infantry that we have. We also only have 3 supply boxes, so we're going to have to be up and moving them around as needed. We do have 2 squads of anti-tank mine engineers, which is going to be very useful. For me, maybe this road over here is probably the best spot for them, for the mines. It'll help against the flank, and then it'll also get most of those units coming in, which is very important because the units will, in general, prioritize the roads when they're coming in from off-map. Alternatively, we could put them, in this area here, but this is the area we expect to be covered primarily by our AT guns. So we really like to use the mines at this stage primarily on the flanks. So we get 16 mines with each squad, so that should give us quite a few to put on this side. Maybe we don't need to put them all over here, but we'll see. We'll at least start out for that for now. Potentially maybe some down this middle road as well, just to cover the potential weak point in our line. Then we also have the regular engineer squad, which we'll use to build a lot of the emplacements. As I'm building them, I'll sort of talk through the ones I use and how I like to usually configure. But for now, let's finally unpause. I've talked plenty enough, and we're just going to start splitting things up. I just want to get them in sort of the rough positions for now. They don't have to be, it doesn't have to be perfect. For me, I really like to use the MGs sort of as a, you don't have to put them right up on the front line. A lot of the times, you just want them sort of even with the AT guns, more or less just to cover your from flanking infantry and such. Alright, so we said we wanted one squad on one area, one in this area here, and then one probably just in the middle. Same with the recon. Makes sense to keep the recon infantry with the AT guns. And then we will also split the engineers up, and we'll put one to one side and one to the other side. So now we sort of have two, we see how we sort of have two sets of defenses going. So what I'm doing here is I'm just building a couple of these foxholes. I really like these firing positions because what they're called firing positions, but they're basically just better versions of the scraped foxholes that the infantry can build by themselves. The reason being they're just a little bit more resilient. They don't, the infantry have a lot more survivability in those than they do in just the standard foxholes. Okay, so we want to move the AT guns into a position that is free from shot blockers, most importantly. Did we not? Oh, this one didn't move. Okay. My bad. Also, we want to use these sandbag kits that they come with, just to give it a little bit more protection. They can, if they eat one shell, that's good enough usually. Okay, so the other sort of key principle here with the AT guns is that we're going to use this button right here, which is the ammo lock. I actually have this bound to tilde because I use it a lot. For the larger caliber ones, we absolutely want to make sure that they're locked on armor-piercing rounds. This is, for me, a absolutely key thing for surviving Conquest Enhanced defense. If you don't have your AT guns on ammo lock, you're going to be in for a tough time, more than likely. Oh, man, a lot of these just don't have bushes. Okay. So we're just gonna, again, spread our recon out. Like to have a mix of them, sort of on, some on hold fire, some not, some on return fire. Just depends on where they're set up, really. Like them in, I want some of them in the flanks, want some of them more in line with our units. These end up being like some of the most key pieces for our defense. I did not put my 45mm AT gun on ammo lock, though. The reason for that is that it's got a fast enough reload speed to where I don't think that it's necessary. And so I would like it to be able to do sort of some dual purpose work. I want it to help deal with some of the infantry as well. I just remembered it did not make these guys do anything. Oops. Later in the campaign, you do need to be a little bit more strategic about where you put your mines, because they will eventually start bringing in the minesweeper tanks, which can be a bit tricky to deal, or sorry, can be a little bit tricky to deal with properly. Okay, so I've seen that I need some more foxholes over here, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. Also like to maybe put a couple on this road just to make sure that we adequately have enough infantry screening. So here we have good vision. Gonna go ahead and put our medics out as well. I didn't need to start building over here a little bit more. It's kind of tough to see sometimes against the snow where all of our foxholes are. But no worry, we figured it out. Okay. So this one we're going to put it on armor piercing, and then we're going to lock the ammo. And we're not going to let it switch. I don't want it doing anything other than targeting tanks. So So we are spread a little bit thinner than I would like, at least, especially since we're sort of away from the flag. I'm not a huge fan of that, but I think we've gotten ourselves a good position, which is which is more important ultimately. Just making sure that all my sandbag emplacements were used. Those, like I said, they can be a big help if you can get them to, you know, take at least one shell there. They can keep an AT gun alive. So the mentality for us should be that we want to try and survive the initial push, and then we want to make sure that we have the ability to reposition if we need to, and cover cover any holes or any gaps in our line that develop. Oh, I forgot to set my recon up on this side. Okay, looks like they're already here. That's not ideal. The other thing I'm gonna just pause real quick and I'm gonna talk about this. So the one thing I'm also about to do here is put a sandbag wall down sort of near my AT gun, and what I want to do is I want to put it close enough to the AT gun to where I can park the supply box up next to it, and then it will basically serve to protect the supply box, because what you don't want to do is have the supply box take a shell, and that was meant for the AT gun, and it blows everything up. That's a complete disaster. So it serves a couple purposes, because it does allow you then to rearm your troops, because they then have a piece of cover to sit behind, which is really nice. See some units rolling in here. One thing I'd like to do is keep some units in reserve, because we're so spread thin. I just don't want to overcommit to the front. Okay, knocking that out. This is good. You can see how much vision we have of the enemy rolling in, which is super important. We don't want to let ourselves get flanked. We've got all these guys in reserve as well to sort of plug any gaps that arise. Just would like you to run back here if you can swing it. See if he can make it out. I like to make sure that he stays in range of that machine gun's just to cover him. PZ1, that's not a problem. The Dishka can deal with that. And so we've got an infantry flank way out here on the side, which we can send some guys over to deal with before it becomes an issue. And then eventually we can reposition them once they've dealt with that flank. So while we can also just get our engineers busy doing something else. We can get them to start building us some. We've got a Panzerjäger here. This thing was potentially can mess us up. Boom. I see I didn't fill some of these foxholes, so we have a little bit of a gap in our line here, but no problem. Didn't hurt us too bad. Or rather, didn't hurt us at all. I have my AT rifle squad just around here to... Okay, we got... Looks like we got some guys coming around back as well here. They've managed to come all the way around. Oh man, look at all this. Ton of infantry coming that way. And see, if we had a vehicle, we actually could use it here to help deal with this infantry in the back. That is the one area where the vehicles can really be very, very useful on defense, is dealing with the flanking infantry. For now, though, I think we're okay. We can just deal with it with the infantry that we have. Over there, just make sure my Dishka stays with plenty of ammo. I'm surprised this AI defense tank is still alive, to be honest. Okay, oh, so see, we got, I forgot that we had our mines over here. We've been taking some units out with those. Probably why we haven't seen any tanks on that side. We just know, remember, we knew there was infantry back there, and they just haven't shown back up yet. Could be. Somebody with a Panzerbücher back there that we can't see. Can hear him though. Maybe they're shooting at our AT, or sorry, our tank. Armored cars rolling in. May need some help to deal with that. Seem okay for now. We're only about halfway home though. We got a lot left in it. Okay, they have taken down that BT-7 crew, so now we don't have that AI defender to help us. Just gonna have some positions sort of dug out here in case we need them to fall back to. See if we can leave this 45 mil to his own devices and let him deal with both unit types. He's very, very effective at dealing with infantry. Okay, we got a big tank coming over here. It's just a PZ-3E rather. we've already got him lined up. Nice. Seeing a potential issue here with this area. Looks like they could. Looks like we might have trouble keeping this up and going. Oh, we got a couple vehicles coming in. This looks like they've recrewed this Panzerjäger. No, it's a second Panzerjäger. Boom. Oh. Oh, he's 2 for 2. Dang, son. Go off, bub. Nice job. One thing what I'm doing here is I'm just taking my infantry and I'm manually rotating them so that I can get line of sight on this area where they may otherwise not have any, because they'll automatically turn to face where they know units are. But, you know, they'll look away and, you know, they don't have the best situational awareness sometimes. So we just have to give them a little nudge sometimes. Seems this is going well still so far. Nothing too crazy yet. At some point they'll hit us with a big push, I'm sure. We've managed it so far because they haven't been able to stack up a lot of anything on one particular part of the map. Okay, MG rolling in, and we've also had enough awareness of it happening before it does. Oh, okay, we got a tank rolling in down the middle here. That's a good hit. Man, he covered a lot of ground with that one. Oh, it's this guy. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was the other one that was dealing with him. Another MG rolling in. At 45 mil should be able to deal with it, no problem. I think we really would like to avoid is some kind of flat gun or something rolling into. Okay, so he's actually. Okay, he is able to. We want to blow that gun up, though. We don't want them to be able to recruit because that thing's just going to be annoying. Not as big of an issue with the MG, to be honest, as it would be if it was the flat gun. Okay, so this infantry has decided to engage us again. Not a big deal. We've got guys ready to deal with that. Just gonna make sure we got good ammo. Looks like still got good ammo levels everywhere. Is this coming in? Another MG34. That's not as big of a deal. If it's a flak 30 or something, we really want to make sure we can deal with it. These 45 mil should be able to take care of it. And he does, okay, no problem. 222A there. Again, no problem. Showing the power of the recon infantry here. The fact that we're able to see them before they can even get in range to do anything to deal with or to hurt us is big. replace some of our guys on the line there. The heck is this guy? Can't even see him. Okay. Seems we've got a group pushing us in the back again. Not super concerned about that at the moment. Although it does look like they got a handful of guys now. Just gonna move a couple more to help with that. Just gonna again make sure we got ammo everywhere. My concern at this point is gonna be about running out of ammo entirely because we did only bring 3 ammo boxes. See, this guy's completely out of bullets already. Got guys on the front line who are out of ammo. So just need to be aware of that now that we're gonna have to start having to run our boys back to get more bullets. So want to be on the lookout for that when the guys need more. Or because they don't have the little logo over their head with the rifle, meaning they're out of ammo. Okay, got a tank coming in. Just gotta get ahead of that there. I see it. Oh, there it is. Okay, we already. Gunners are already on top of it. Okay, this is a little bit more than I would like, so what we're going to do is actually going to pull this MG34 back and let him deal with this. Seems that we're just running out of bullets. Just want to get him into good position here. He should be able to deal with all this infantry on his own. Just the one MG. If we had a Jeep or a light vehicle or something, like if we had our T-40 with us from the attack, it would be just fine to let him roam around and mop that up. But since we don't, we've got to be a little bit more creative with how we do it. See, now they're getting close enough to where our frontline MGs are going to be able to deal with them. And just knowing that this is here really is the biggest thing. You know, if these guys all run out of the woods and we don't see them, that's obviously a big problem. But it's much more preventable and less of an issue if we obviously see it coming in before it happens. Okay, we've got a tank rolling in. Oh, okay, so see, we just this tank has got, he's shooting 2 different ones now, or sorry, he has 2 different tanks in his sight range, which is potentially an issue. It looks like we were okay. Yep, took care of that, no problem. Nice, huge. Get a tank coming in this way, just a PZ-1, no problems. Just gonna go ahead and rotate my AT gun to deal with it before it becomes a sure he's aware. He sees it. Still doing okay. We're at 17,000 points. Haven't really had anything too big to sweat about because we haven't let really anything snowball. It does seem that if you can sort of keep the momentum on your side, that that's how it gets out of control. To be honest, is if you have these like compound issues where you sort of lose one area of your front line, and then they'll exploit that weakness. At this point, my main concern is that we run out of ammo. Not completely, but enough to where we start losing a lot of units, which obviously we don't want. I'd like to maybe move our MG up just a smidge. It's got enough for now. Just make sure we're targeting what we need to be targeting. This guy needs to be facing this way and hitting this tank. I don't really care about the other one. The fact that we're able to just deal with these tanks by, hitting them with 1 or 2 rounds is huge, because, if we were sitting here, like just what just happened there, where this guy rolls up and he kills the entire gun crew in 1 shot. I mean, I'm sure that's happened to anybody who's played this before. And then this is where it, can kind of get out of control, or get out of hand. We're just gonna try and target the turret, knock the gun out. Okay, so now we've got a Pack 36 that's also messing us up. Okay, you're gonna go ahead and use a smoke barrage on this pack gun just to try and burn it up. Okay, so now we've got that thing is now sniped us out, so we're gonna have to deal with this. Man, look at that. Like, I just started talking about how things were going well, and all of a sudden we lose like 3 AT guns in one swoop there. Just need to get our medics up and going. I think we contained it for now. We just need to get some recrews up now. We didn't get that. Damn, we didn't get the AT gun. Okay, looks like this one got totally toasted. That's no good. And okay, and our MG got decrewed. Look at that. Like, everything's just all of a sudden out of control. Just like that. So we are down. This we've got to get it back up. What is this? There's a flat gun or something right there. We gotta get rid of that. There's another incendiary smoke round on him. Man. That's the kind of shit that just, like, he's got vision on you and he just sit there and take you out before you can even do anything. We know we've still got infantry in the back that we're gonna have to deal with. Luckily, we probably have survived long enough to where we're not gonna have an issue. But we want to start pulling our infantry back from this flank now that we can't defend them, and we'll use some of them to recruit these AT guns. He's still on there, man. I cannot believe that. Oh, this is so aggravating. Where the heck is he? Can't even see it. He's right there. I mean, this kind of thing just... Okay, this AT gun is out of HE rounds. That's part of the reason he's just flubbing it. Okay, and we just need to kill this thing. There it goes, okay. So we'll go ahead and get some guys repairing that AT gun. Oh, okay. Never mind. That was it. Alright, not so bad. But, you know, you could see there in the last just a couple of minutes how it can all come undone really quickly if you can't stay ahead of the snowball. Didn't take too many casualties though. It did lose one of our new AT guns, but overall it wasn't too bad. Map wasn't the most friendly, but it wasn't the worst. But I think that pushing up into that tree line definitely helped. And then we saw the benefits of the recon squad being able to sort of see out and spot for AT guns, how important that is, and how important it is that the AT guns, you know, when the tanks roll up, they have the armor-piercing round already loaded. They don't have to wait around to reload and take that time. You know, you really want that first shot to hit and neutralize that tank. Okay, so we got more research points, which is good, but not what we need immediately. We have to replace some of the losses that we had in the last battle. Luckily, we didn't have too many. But yeah, we only have 590 manpower, which will be a little bit tricky on the next attack, but hopefully we can grab one that gives us a big manpower boost. Let's see, overall, looks like we only lost the MG34 and one of our AT guns entirely, which is good. No, actually, we kept the MG34. What did we lose? Completely. Oh, one of the AT mine engineers looks like. Yeah, it looks like we lost one of the AT mine engineer squads. That's okay. These guys are expendable. They did what they needed to do. We didn't even talk about the mines in the last one. I wasn't paying attention to see how many kills they got, but I know at least we got a couple. And especially out on that flank, it probably kept, you know, any flanking vehicle nonsense from occurring. That's definitely something that we will need to be aware of going forward. You know, if you go no vehicle, you definitely have a hard time dealing with some of that stuff, but for the most part, we never really had to sweat it too much. Didn't lose a lot of our infantry at all, if I had to guess. Yeah, these are still pretty much, you know, pretty healthy. We don't have a lot of 1 and 2 out of 11 here. Overall, I think though that it was successful. You know, we made it out. It wasn't the cleanest there at the end, but overall, you know, pretty good blueprint, I think, for, you know, sort of how you should be approaching the defense missions, especially early on. Alright, that's going to be it for me for now. I'm going to sign off, and we'll pick it back up for day 3. See you then.